Howdy folks, so this video is going to be good for you, helpful for you if you've booked accommodation in Seminyak or Batu Belig or Canggu, which is really just all the same kind of, they're just sort of suburbs that come back from the main beach, which is all really the same thing. So you've got Kuta and then Legian and then Seminyak and then Batu Belig, then Canggu. So it's I'm taking here some of the back roads and some of the main roads, and as the signs that are coming up as you're seeing them are just the signs that I've been able to read as I've paused the video for the hotels, mainly hotels. You've already seen a few, but also just like point out a couple of other things, like where there's a doctor. I'll try and tell you as we go. You see the chemist, etc. But look, what I would do is go to booking.com and have a look at the map. Like, so you open up, like, so you look, just type in, like, okay, I want to stay in Seminyak, so just type in Seminyak, and then you can find a hotel for the price, for your price range. And then when you find something that you like the look of, open the map, and that'll show you an area of the map. Now then you go across to Google and just Google map of Seminyak or map of Canggu, depending on where your hotel is. Yeah. So in this way, you'll sort of get a good idea of where it is related to the beach, etc. So at all of this video, we are riding closest to the beach, between the main road and the beach. So you're only like a walk from the beach. It might be a 5 or 10 minute walk to the beach. We'll see later on in this video where I turn down a road and end up at a beach that I actually don't know the name of, but yeah. So, but I guess I just sort of wanted to start to sort of point out that things do kind of change a little bit once you get into these areas. If you're used to staying in Kuta and Legian, then it's wall to wall shops, accommodation, mini mart, chemist, massage, and restaurants, and any other little whatever it might be. That was a favourite of mine back there. It's Mozzarella, which is in a few locations, and also the Taco Casa, which is a Mexican restaurant. It sort of saved my life, because when I did get Bali belly, I needed some Mexican penicillin, I call it, which is just burritos, But yeah, just really, really good, clean food. There are a lot of chain restaurants starting to happen now in Bali. So there's, when I say Bali, is that how we say Bali? There are a lot of chain restaurants starting to happen. I noticed some of them American. There's a place coming up down the road called Great Burgers, and I looked that up, and yeah, sure enough, it's an American chain of restaurants. So I guess the fix is kind of in. The multi-corporates are coming in with their chains. This on the right here, Slippery Stone, food, fantasy, and fun. That intrigues me. I don't know what it is. Again, like I don't know this area really super well. Only that I know that the direction that I'm going and the basic sort of areas when I cross through them. But yeah, that looks interesting, doesn't it? I should have you should have a look on Google and see what that's all about. There are some really interesting places along here as we ride. I mean, it's that rice field on the left there. It's getting more and more hard to find. I mean, basically, a friend of mine over in Bali said, look, if you want to make business over here, just buy a rice field and develop it. Well, yeah, that's great for the developer, I suppose, if you want to make the almighty dollar, and that's what people do. But yeah, there's nothing left of this place. I mean, this used to be just all rice field and some, maybe a remote sort of a music venue or a bar that you could sort of drive out of Legian and go to just somewhere special in the fields. There were some nightclubs on the beach, and I mean, just otherwise just village and farms and things, which I must admit I used to love. I don't know how far west I would have to go now to experience that same sort of emptiness where there would be just, rice fields and trees swaying in the breeze. But what this also does is it sort of shows you that things are a little spread out. I mean, here on this section, you've got a footpath, which is different to what you'll find later on in the video. So at least here you can sort of walk along. There's what we're sort of flying past basically is lots of restaurants, lots of accommodation. Now you're starting to get all of your sort of patisseries and bakeries and things like that, which never used to exist in Bali back in the 80s, for instance. Great Burgers there on the right, so that's an American chain of burgers. But yeah, you never used to sort of be able to get like a bread except for a McDonald's. That's the way I remember it anyway, because a friend of mine decided that he was going to open a bakery and a patisserie and with croissants, etc. Like he's a European guy, and I thought, wow, that's a pretty bizarre idea, because at the time we wasn't very hip. But I tell you what, now these days, very much so. So here I mean you and me, but like, I've headed down to the beach. Now I don't know what beach this is, but I do know that I'm getting close to Canggu. Yeah. But this gives you a good look at a typical beach, and it's not as amazing as you might first think. It's volcanic sand, so it's fairly dirty and brown, but yeah, look, they're not. I mean, you can get a decent surf on some days, but these places are not. They don't go to town with the infrastructure. They just kind of go, oh, it's a beach, we'll put a building in front of it. They don't have any sort of plan to sort of save the sand and the dune areas and all that sort of things as we would in Australia and other countries. But I do love these rattly old little restaurant places and people there taking a selfie, because it is probably a good photo opportunity. This place here is just a little beach bar, and like this to me appeals. It's just a funky old sort of a beach bar. I don't know what the food would be like. But just sit there and chill out with a cocktail or something perhaps healthy. Now that we're getting into these areas, you'll find that the food and the drinks get a lot more healthy than they are down in Legian, perhaps. This chap I asked, is this Canggu? And he goes, no, it's the next one. So Canggu's not one beach. I mean, it probably is one stretch of sand, but you've got Echo Beach and you've got Old Man's and sort of different beaches that make up the Canggu stretch. So it's a little confusing. I mean, look at this now. Like, he's walked down from there to the beach, and I mean, if I was to have my first time in Bali, book that villa back there and then walk to the beach and go, oh, that's the beach. I mean, we're very spoiled in Australia for the most, beautiful beaches in the world, surely. Thailand's got some of them too, and so have a lot of other countries. But I can't really say that Bali has the most spectacular beaches. Having said that, it's got one of the most famous surfing beaches in the world, which is Uluwatu. So there's that. Look at the graffiti on the walls here. It's driving me nuts. I mean, where's the pride? Like, you're a tourist island. I mean, it was good graffiti. Like, I'd be digging it, but it's just kind of scribble, It's not even very colourful and not creative at all. It's just names and stuff. But, graffiti artists sort of get in wherever they can. Maybe it's tourists, maybe it's not. Who knows? But it's life, I guess. They do the trains, don't they? All over New York, they were doing trains, and all over the world. So I guess I'm just getting old and a bit over it. But it doesn't help to beautify Bali. Villa Lisha on the side there. I'm not recommending any of these places because I haven't stayed at any of them. But look at the surrounds. Now, if you're walking, imagine. I mean, there's no footpath, and you're a fairly long way between drinks. I mean, here's a great spot I stopped at, which is the Laguna Beach Bar. Went down here to the security guy, but he said, no, we're not open till 11. He's a friendly chap. I don't know how many guns he's got in that little bag there of his, but yeah, he's like, oh, 11 o'clock. It was close to 11, and I thought, well, he wouldn't let me go down and film. I said, I just want to use the camera. Oh, yeah, no, come back at 11. So I would have loved to have a look at that place. I never got back there on this trip, but yeah, would have loved to have a look at that. But again, we roll on, and where's the footpath? I mean, you can't really walk, and so I'm assuming that people that have landed in this area take the option to use a taxi. So we're in Canggu now, or a lot of people do hire motorbikes. A lot of them ride around without helmets, thinking hey, it's Bali, I can do this, but you can still fall on your head too. So make up your mind if you want your brain or not. It's a bit of a mishmash, isn't it? I mean, I would have thought that they would make something really spectacular out of this whole area, but I'm not loving it. I find it's just like throw up a business and throw up another one next to it, and don't worry about the rice field on the left. We'll get rid of that soon. It's just an annoyance. It seems to be the attitude which saddens me. I mean, the beauty of Bali is certainly going. If you go to Bali thinking that it's going to be a tropical paradise, I think that you'll really have to get out in the backwoods to find what I would consider to be a paradise, which is, that you're on your own in the bush, in the jungle. So those people there walking along, gutter on the other side, just enough space, and cars slowing down to sort of get around them. I think down here, we've slowed down the cars because it's getting pretty skinny, and there's a bit of a drop off. Yeah, just here, this car on the right, I was waving him through because he couldn't see whether his wheel was still on the road or not. I mean, yeah, you're right, come on. So just over there, that's just a drop off that he would have gone down a bit of a ditch. So the infrastructure is really not considered at all in Bali. They just, there's a road there, we can sell the property, cool, go for it. I don't know how the councils work, but the local, community, I don't know how they decide on what can and can't be done at their place. But anyway, that's just my little pet peeve. I mean, it's just not well done. They should have a road that's, wide enough for two, plus a footpath, which it looked like they were building a little bit of a one there, or a front to a shop. And imagine if they had a cycleway on the side of these roads. People would just love that. Like, I'm a cyclist, so I think you would be just on your bike and just wandering around here, heading down to Starbucks for a coffee on your pushy. Okay, it's going to be hot, but just take your time and see your way around. Because the other thing that I was going to suggest that you do during this video is actually keep pausing it. Every time you see a set of signs like that, just hit pause, and you'll be able to see, like this splash water park. I mean, you wouldn't have known, right? We would have just flown past it. And that's what I did with this video, is I just shot it, and I was talking as I rode, but I wasn't very talkative on that day. So I thought I'd do a voiceover for this one for you. But yeah, as you see the signs like click, bang, what's that? And you'll find quickly that there is a pattern of chemists and restaurants and etc. But they are further apart. People there on a bike on the left and on the right, all riding bikes, getting around, because perhaps they've found out quickly that it's too sparse to walk around. This is me, typical type of riding that I do, but yeah, why not go for it? There's plenty of space. Well done, Woz. Yep, good on you, mate. But yeah, like little shops, little rungs, little restaurants, little places to stay. Yeah, it's all good, but it is just a mishmash of stuff. So I sort of almost worry about the people that just book this a place because the room looks good online, and then they find that they're in some ways a little bit stranded in a stretch of street that there's not a lot going on. I mean, you're not going to have this is not going to be full of amazing restaurants, this road. Some of them will be pretty basic, others will be amazing. But as I said, when we do get into these areas, the food does tend to get a lot healthier. You're talking about your mueslis with all of that fruit. I can't remember what those dishes are called for breakfast. And there's a lot of coconut water going on. There's a lot of coconut oil, pure coconut oil going on. And healthy sort of young 20-somethings able to really keep their diet the same when they're in Bali, which is what this area is a little bit famous for, especially Canggu. Canggu is really sort of the European enclave now. in Bali. There's not a lot of Balinese there. It's well and truly sort of expat city, and they've come in and they live there and they work there and they run businesses from there, whether it be sort of online businesses or local businesses. There's a lot of people in the fashion industry, etc., and there are a lot of factories around, especially in this area, that will make any clothes that you design, etc. So you can get little businesses going in these sort of areas, but yeah, it intrigues me. I mean, footpath there on the left. I just wonder. I mean, I guess it's just like the suburbs, really, isn't it? I mean, it's a suburb, and you stay there. And well, look at this section here, particularly. I mean, it's just really a lot of nothing. Like just what's that? I mean, just a couple of buildings. Maybe that's accommodation on the right. Maybe it's a home. So I guess this is the reason that people keep coming back to Kuta and Legian if you've been coming there all of your life and then they show their kids, is because it's so convenient. Like everything's just right there, and you walk out and you can go to 5 different restaurants in the one day, just like outside your door. So that's it for this video. I'm just stopping here to get some petrol. Benzin. This guy was pretty cool. He's like, yeah, just give you a big bottle of petrol, and he's chatting away, and as he chats away, he just spills like he overfilled it, and the petrol's just like running all over my motorbike, and we just sort of laughed and said, oh yeah, I think it might be full now, but yeah, look, that was the ride, and you've taken in Seminyak, Batu Belig and Canggu. So that's hopefully given you a really good idea of what the area looks like, back streets and main streets. All the best, and see you soon.